Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is just going to be a very quick update because I haven't really been talking about this whole carnivore diet for a while now. I am still getting some messages along the way asking if I'm still on a carnivore diet because I do rarely post about foods that I eat. But please stay tuned. I do intend to do a what I eat in a day video. I think a lot of people enjoy those kind of videos. Of course, it's not something to tell you that it's what you need to follow. I think people are just generally interested in pursuing this way of eating because of the kind of health, physical, mental benefits that comes from it. So anyway, so let's go into how the carnivore diet has been going for me. It's coming to actually in 2 months time. I'm going to be at my 4 years mark of doing a rather strict carnivore diet. Why I say rather strict is because the pure strict carnivore diet, which is for people with very serious autoimmune issues, they actually can only go for beef, salt and water, right? So those are the only 3 things that they consume. But for me, I don't really have very severe autoimmune issues. If you don't know what autoimmune issues are, I will link something at the description box below. I didn't want this video to be too long. So for me, I am quite strict, but when I say quite, it means that because I still consume caffeine in the form of green tea, because after all, it's a kind of plant. So people who are very strict, they normally don't suggest any kind of plant-derived or plant-based things to consume. So I do drink green tea, and on a very rare occasion, I would go for coffee. But the reason why coffee is not really working out for me is because I realized that it energizes me a little bit too much, and then I get this dip of energy by the later part of the day. So I prefer to stick to green tea because the release of energy or caffeine is a little bit more sustained in a stable manner. A very quick summary: I normally fast in the morning. Naturally, I am normally not hungry in the morning most of the time. So I'm going more of an intuitive approach now, where let's say in the morning I do feel hungry, I would actually eat beef patties or steak. You know, it's not something that, oh, why are you eating steak for breakfast? That's weird. Okay, so I think for a carnivore, it's not weird at all. So I don't normally do breakfast, so I do fast very naturally, sometimes 16, sometimes 18, and if I'm very busy, I would do a 20 or 23 hours fast. But I try not to do it too often. Only when I know my schedule is busy, I would do a prolonged like 23 hours fast, because I get very productive from there. But I'm not going to give the advice that, you know, if you've never tried carnivore, you've never done low carb, and then you straight away like, you know what, I'm going to do 23 hours fast because Michelle has mental clarity from it. Not recommended. I did train myself and get adapted into it over a period of months and years. So I can say one of the things that carnivore diet has really done for me is that at least in the past few months, I wasn't super strict with the kind of meat that I was eating. Like, I used to be somebody that focuses a lot on ruminant animals only, whereas like it has to be beef, it has to be lamb, you know, it has to be animals that actually ingest grass and nothing else. So I don't eat chicken or even seafood. I was avoiding a little because of the mercury and stuff like that. So that was quite strict. But I start to realize that my social life is a little bit better, because I think in the first 2 to 3 years that I was very strict, only eating lamb and beef, right? I have really improved and healed my gut, that also managed my autoimmune issues, right? That now if I accidentally eat something that, you know, there's a little bit of marination to it, I don't do it intentionally. Sometimes things happen, you know, like you can tell the waiter not to put it, and then sometimes when you actually eat the steak, you know that they didn't clean the pan before that. There's a bit of the residue. You can taste, this beef tastes a little bit like paprika, you know, that kind of vibes. So that kind of vibes actually. Those kind of moments, it used to trigger me quite a bit in terms of like, I would have discomfort and then I would have a bit of brain fog, you know. But I think now going out, even if they accidentally, you know, put a little bit of vegetable oil or butter, I hope not, I wouldn't get any much reaction from it. My skin, my gut, it's just my overall well-being. I think it's because my body has adapted to it. It's become quite strong. I think that's the whole point of why people go on an elimination diet, meaning you cut out everything that you eat except meat, because that's the only food source that is not going to trigger, because we are made out of muscles and it's what we were meant to be eating originally. So when you go through this elimination diet for a long time, your body recovers. It's not always in constant inflammation, you know, from eating processed food and sugar. It kind of recovers itself and now it becomes less reactive. I think that's the whole point of it. And then I think one of the second thing that I noticed is that obviously being on a carnivore diet, very heavily meat-based, I have very strong hair and nails, I must say. I can be quite clumsy at the gym, right? I want things to be fast and stuff like that. So I tend to break my nails pretty often in the past, and I would say that, you know, chipping doesn't even happen. They are really strong and they grow really, really fast. So it's kind of high maintenance for me because I need to go do my manicure very often. But I would say that the quality of my nails and even my hair, I get a lot of questions from you guys asking what are tips that I can give for hair. I actually couldn't do a video about that because that video will only be 1 minute long. I use very basic shampoo. I sometimes don't even use conditioner. I don't do any hair treatment except I think this is something that maybe you would say that it's the one helping, but I think a year ago I started noticing like my hair was thinning. I think that was only because I went a little bit too extreme with my exercise and my diet, like not eating enough because I was so busy. And then I actually went into this micro needling treatment. I will link it somewhere. It basically 1,000 needles are penetrated to your scalp and then they rub in like this serum. It's something that has helped a lot of my baby hair grow out. So you can see like all this short little, I think it's like protruding somewhere, right? It's all for my baby hair at the neck area, you know. It just grew out to be like adult hair, like black and very strong. So not sure whether that's for microneedling, but I always believe that it comes from the inside rather than something that you do physically. And then lastly, I think I've touched about it earlier on, is that obviously I get a lot of mental clarity from eating this way. I don't really have crashes. I think it's getting better and better to the point that sometimes you really don't think about food at all. And I think for me, one of the greatest benefit of just eating meat only is the kind of mental clarity, the kind of very chill, sustained energy that I get. Okay, when I say chill, it doesn't mean that if somebody like were to accidentally punch me in the face, I wouldn't get angry, you know. But it's more about during stressful situations, still not perfect, but there's a lot of progress. I tend to really analyze and have time to think about things before I actually react or respond to it. So in the past, it was quite fast for me. It can be good and bad, but I think, a lot more chill during situations like that. And then especially the things that I do, my work, when you work with many different types of people, and then when you are involved in certain discussion that requires a lot of thinking, you need to be in a very clear state of mind, I believe. So I must say that this kind of like blood sugar regulation, you know, I'm not getting inflamed or like affected by, oh, I go for lunch and then now I'm sleepy kind of like, you know, situation. It doesn't happen to me. So which is why I am able to be more productive, and I do make sure that the time that I have, I spend it very, very wisely, and I, you know, get things done really organized in a way where I have planned it to be. So that was I think that is really, really useful, a life skill that everyone should have. Anyway, so this is how the carnivore diet has been working for me. I am continuing to do it, but I think I am incorporating more seafood now. For some reason, I'm craving a lot of oyster. And oh, one thing that I must highlight, I think a lot of carnivore people out there are going to be like, oh, but you're not carnivore anymore. It's that once in a while, I do put in things like avocado and pumpkin. So I think a lot of my friends, they still think that I'm this very strict, like beef only kind of way of eating. I think maybe I have trained them to think that way, because eating out with me, it's, you know, the first thing that you need to look for is if they have a steak or beef, you know. But the thing is, they are, time to time, I do incorporate a little bit of avocado and pumpkin, which I don't post. It's because, like I said, I don't really post what I eat on Instagram. It's just not natural for me, but I would do so in what I eat in a day. How often do I incorporate this plant food? Not very often. So it really depends on whether I have a heavier workout the next day. Usually it involves around like exercise, or sometimes I just feel like it's very intuitive, you know. It's no longer something that I'm like, oh, I kind of want to eat pumpkin, but I'm not going to eat it because I can't, you know, that kind of thing. So because my big picture or my overall plan is that I manage my autoimmune issues. I have quality of life because I can be a tiny bit flexible, because being strict all the time is not the best way to go either, but I do have a plan that I follow. It's more important than just being that way. And I mean, the goal is that, you know, after I have fixed, I think I have, you know, have a very strong foundation in terms of my physical health, is that I should be able to tolerate things that most people tolerate. But I am not going to go out and like, you know what, I'm going to wreck myself. I'm going to eat a box of cereal, which is AKA sugar, and then see what happens. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, because I'm very educated now about what food you should be taking and what kind of effect you can get from it. So having the intention in mind, I think, is going to be the most important thing that everyone should take away from. The diet shouldn't control you. It shouldn't be the definition of your life. Most important thing is, you know, what do you hope to achieve in your life as a whole, and what are the things that you do is going to help you to get there. So I think that's the key message. Anyways, so this is how the carnivore diet has been going for me. I hope you find this video useful in some way. If you have any questions, you can let me know. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.